Growing up in the Midwest, you end up seeing blizzards and floods and tornadoes and storms. I had watched 2 tornadoes play in the sky over Bloomington, Indiana, just 10 years before, twisting around each other as if some sort of mating dance. I know the sound of a tornado as well, that freight train on top of you, low rumble you feel inside your organs. And so when I heard the low rumbling outside and the high-pitched whine of the radio beeping on the inside, it was very clear what was taking place. As a child in tornado country, you learn from an early age that the best thing to do is lie flat in a ditch if you happen to be out. But in terms of an electrical storm, it's best to be in the car, those rubber tires, and wait for it to pass. The lightning was definitely a problem because it was striking constantly and striking very near the car, hitting trees and poles in the fields all around me. I was trying to sort it all out, to decide if the smart thing would be to get out and get in a ditch or just ride it out in the car. And then the rain started falling horizontally. Water fell onto the passenger's door window head on. On my driver's window, there was suddenly nothing. The wind was so loud that I couldn't even hear the radio anymore, so I switched it off. The wind so strong, the rain moving horizontally across the land where I was, it was a surreal moment. Hard to explain all of these years later because every sense was constructing it in a strange way. I was still in my suit and tie. The car was rocking. I wasn't frightened at all, though. I didn't feel even a little bit of fear, only a profound sadness. I was just suddenly crying. As the rain poured sideways and the wind pushed at the car, I cried so much that my face felt swollen and puffed up, my eyes disappearing like little wet slits in my head, my nose full and painfully bursting, my ears hot. I cried, and I started screaming. I rolled down the window. Not a drop of rain was coming in while it passed like a river over the roof of the car. I put my head out the window just a little bit, there behind the impossible waterfall streaming to the ground, and I screamed into the night. I screamed for God, at me, at the world, at the dying and indifferent universe, at everyone who has ever let anyone else down. I screamed and cried for what felt like forever. And then I felt the car rise off the ground. A feeling of weightlessness, especially while inside a car, is always a surprise. But for some reason, I didn't stop screaming. My head fell a bit more outside the window for a moment, then suddenly snapped back as the car lurched forward in the air. The unmistakable freight train sound was all around me. I was screaming as loud as I could, but I couldn't hear myself at all. Still, I kept at it. Tears flowing, my whole body incredibly warm, my throat burning as if struck by lightning. I screamed into that blackness. No depth, no bottom, no top, just the dark of the night and the storm everywhere. I screamed and I was elevated. I wanted to explode, to have my whole body rip open and send my blood everywhere. My blood, a microscopic mist that would go out and cover everything, touch everything, and wash it clean. My filthy blood, my filthy, miserable body ripped to a billion little pieces, cleaning everything, saving everything, impossibly making good from my own lack of good. Success from my own failure. I wanted someone to hear that I was screaming, to know that I was crying, to wash over the world and start it up again without me. Better this time. Better without me. The front tires hit first, and my head jerked forward toward the steering wheel. By the time the back tire settled onto the ground, the noise stopped. The rain was completely gone. It was suddenly and unexpectedly over, the way one never wants to imagine one's life will someday be over. The moon was instantly out, shining on the open fields full of glistening rocks and trees. The night was black but clear and stretched forever. My face was wet and warm, and I was pointed the opposite direction on the empty road. I sat there for a few minutes, watching the night sky float above me. And then I turned the car around and I drove home.